Let's give everyone a few seconds to join us. Okay. Good morning. Welcome to the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority Audit Committee meeting. Today is Wednesday, March 18, 2026. This meeting is being recorded. Commissioner Slausa,
Here.
Commissioner Saunders,
Here.
Commissioner Stringer. We have quorum.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much. I just want to say, first of all, we have a new and improved audio setup today. And I want to say thank you very much to the LASA team for putting that in place. And it looks awesome. We have a lot of great looking hardware. If there's any issues, please let people know right away. But my expectation is that it's probably going to be pretty good. We do have somebody joining us on Zoom today too. So I want to just make sure that everybody here is okay. So if you're listening online, or you have issues, just let us know because we've changed things a little bit here. Hopefully it's all an upgrade. I'm seeing thumbs up. Seeing thumbs up all around. So yeah, that's great. And thank you very much to the LASA team for that change. I'm also just going to take a moment, just very short moment for a personal note. I learned on Saturday that one of the very first unhoused people that I got to know, named Jenny, was hit by a train at Glassell Park a week ago and died. And that she joins a long list of other people who I've got to know doing outreach, including Animal and Cindy and Gaia, Deranged, Kevin, Jasmine, who effectively died from homelessness. And this is the reason why LASA has to succeed. This is the reason why we all do this work, and it's the reason what motivates me. And I just wanted to name that today, this morning, because we do have about 6 people who die every day on our streets. And I think we should keep that front and center when we do this work, which seems sometimes detached from that, but actually is part and parcel of trying to solve and solve this issue in our city and county. So I'd like to start with item number 1, which is acceptance of the minutes, including any corrections. I want to do note that Commissioner Stringer requested documents related to our audit plan that were provided him in item number 6. And can I get a motion to accept the minutes unless there's any corrections or changes?
Yeah, I moved to accept the minutes. Does we need a motion?
We'll just make a change. Okay, yeah. No, it's no, so we don't have to make any changes to the minutes. I just want to note that actually was an action item that was taken care of. And then we'll move over to, I'm happy to have this item number 2, which is a key responsibility of this committee, this audit committee, is our annual single audit. And we're going to have a briefing today from Justin Measley, the principal auditor from Clifton Larston Allen, who is primarily responsible for our single audit this year. So Justin is joining us via web conference from my college town of Baltimore, Maryland, and happy to see you, Justin. And just wanted to welcome you to our commission meeting, and start off by just asking you a couple of questions. Specifically, if you could explain, just for the benefit of everybody, what the single audit is and why does LASA do it?
Sure. Am I coming through clearly, sound-wise?
I think so. There's a little bit of static, but maybe it seems okay. Let's try it, and then we can adjust if we need to.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, Justin. Thanks for having me today. As mentioned, my name is Justin Measley. I'm a principal with CLA. I'm the one that actually signs the audit report. I'm joined by Thomas Putman, who's behind me. He's the manager on the engagement. So just to start off, for the first question asked, we're engaged. Our scope of our audit, we actually issue 3 different reports for LASA. We complete the financial audit and the single audit. That's what, in the aggregate, are those 3 reports. For the financial audit, that's the independent auditor's report. The goal there is for us to be able to issue an opinion on whether or not.
Hold on one moment. We're having a little bit of audio problems on our side.
Okay.
I think we're maybe okay now. So thanks a lot. I'm sorry to throw off your rhythm there.
Oh, no worries. So the first report, that independent auditors report, that's on the financial statements themselves. So the balance sheet, the income statement. The goal there is to be able to issue an opinion on whether the financial statements are free from material misstatement, essentially whether the readers of those financial statements can rely on those numbers. The second two reports that we issue is conjunction the single audit report, the government auditing standards report over internal controls over financial reporting, and then the single audit report with respect to internal controls over compliance for each major federal program in accordance with uniform guidance. So uniform guidance is the essentially the regulation that is driving the need for a single audit. Since LASA does receive over $750,000 in federal awards and expenditures, LASA is required to have a single audit where we do audit major federal programs that does rotate on an annual basis in accordance with the appropriate risk assessment within that CFR. And then the goal there is to be able to issue an opinion on whether LASA is in compliance with those direct and material compliance requirements. And that single audit, that whole package, the financial statements, the three reports, is due to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse within 9 months after fiscal year end. So March 31st.
So that's due on March 31st, which is fast approaching.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Could you describe then your role and the role of Clifton Larson in this process?
Sure. You're coming in a little quiet. I
All right.
do know what you
Give me
said,
a
but
second.
you're coming in a
Let me
little
do that.
quiet now.
Let me do that again. Because we have a new setup today. Can you describe your role and the role of Clifton Larson in this process?
Sure. So our role is the external auditors. So management has responsibility of the financial statements. Our responsibility are the opinions that we offer. They aren't absolute opinions, but in order to reach those opinions, we're required to obtain supporting documentation from LASA in order to reach those conclusions and to be able to issue our reports. I'm specifically, we have about a 4 to 5 person engagement team. I'm the one that comes in before our quality control review. I'm the one that takes responsibility from CLA for the reports. I review the financial statements. So I'm the one that actually takes responsibility for the opinions that are issued for LASA. Oh, and I can't hear you anymore. Ooh, I can't hear you. Looks like you're muted.
Okay. Can you hear now?
Yes, I can. It looked like you were muted for a minute.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Thank you for bearing with us today. Again, we're really trying to upgrade our audio system here, and we're getting better. And I can see it happening, but there's a couple of kinks. But can you describe what the most common schedule or process is? Because I assume that you do this kind of work with other clients. Can you, for what's a common schedule for a process for your clients that have a June 30th fiscal year end in terms of the timing of the preparation of these documents that are required to be due on March 31st?
Absolutely. So the difficult answer there is that it does depend. However, I would say most 6/30 June 30th year ends. Most of those entities or those clients that are state and local government, quasi-governmental entities like LASA, generally have reporting deadlines other than just the uniform guidance reporting requirement. Most agencies are required to report to their city or their county because they're part of those financial statements earlier than that March 31st. So we tend to see most of our 6/30 clients develop a schedule of delivery of specific items to us to be able to meet, whether it be late Q3 or within Q4. Generally, September 30th is normally the earliest. That's a very quick turnaround for a 6/30. It's about 3 months after year end. Then other clients between October 31st, November 30th, and December 31st really does depend upon who's looking for the financial statements. GFOA, another, I would say, regulatory body, encourages about 6 months is a timely issuance. But again, LASA's regulatory deadline is technically March 31st. And we work to develop a plan with the client to be able to deliver that report based on when they're ready for the audit.
Okay, so I guess what I'm hearing from you is that we're a little bit on we're an outlier in terms of the timing for our document production for filing this single audit. Usually, clients that you work with, in understanding that some have different requirements than we do, but a lot of them get it done by December-ish or early January for the most part, lion's share.
Yes, I would say most clients are ready for audit mid-August, some starting in September, but those are just later deadlines with the audit being completed by the end of that calendar year. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Can you explain the process so far at LASA with how things are going with our single audit and the status that you're currently working to complete?
Sure, absolutely. So I would say we met with, just to kind of I'll give a very high level overview. Of course, if there are further questions or you want me to expand, but I'd like to start high level. We met with LASA in October of 2025 to go over what our overall timeline was for the audit, when items would be due to us. At that time, we provided a provided by client listing, which is a listing of all items that we would need to start the audit process. And we agreed upon January 15th being the submission date for those items. And that was when we were starting our audit process. That's when we had staff scheduled for the audit. Subsequent to that, we had confirmed on a few different occasions, December and twice in January, prior to us starting field work, that LASA was on track for submitting those items to us by that 15th date.
Okay,
Subsequent to that, we had.
just press pause here for 1 second. So I just want
Yep.
to note for anybody who's paying attention that we had a presentation, this committee had a presentation from our finance team in October of 2025 that talked about this and gave us the update on the single audit. And I think that was probably right around when you had the meeting with them. And there were no red flags in terms of that. It sounds like we had a good plan. And that's the last that we've heard. Our committee has heard about that process. So it sounds like there was a January 15th submission date. Sorry to I just wanted to add that in there to know that that's the last time that we've heard about it, this commission, and that things were on track.
Got it. That is helpful to know. Yeah, so we, as I would say, two-way communication with any client is key for us to be able to make sure that we have a successful audit. So, even though we met in October, agreed upon dates, hadn't heard anything differently, my team took the proactive approach of following up with the LASA team to confirm that timeline still worked, that those items would be delivered to us by that January 15th date. We followed up December 17th, January 6th, January 13th, and we were provided with assurances that information would be provided. The day after everything was due, we followed up again. And then once again, January 19th. And on January 20th, we were provided an extension request for 7 days past the current date to January 27th. So we started off the audit in not a good spot, with several delays on the front end, with the lack of communication on those delays from the LASA team. With that being said, we had a very, I would say, significant conversation about the need for proactive communication with the delay process, because unfortunately, we have people scheduled that, if I'm unaware of delays, it makes it very difficult for me to be able to shift our schedule to accommodate the delays of any client. Of course, we always want to be accommodating, but it does make it difficult in that process. So I guess fast forward to February 5th and February 6th. February 5th and 6th, on the 5th, I met with the board chair to communicate the timing and the scope of the audit. In accordance with auditing standards, we are required to communicate at that time. And at that time, I did communicate the need for March 31st issuance, and that we were off to a rocky start, that we were hoping to be able to course
And just
correct.
one thing, you communicated with the board chair on February 5th?
Yes.
This? Okay. The full commission board chair, not yeah, understand. Okay, thank you.
Yes, yeah, as part of auditing standards, we're required to communicate with governance, planning matters, talking about timing and scope, whether that be a board chair, someone of audit and finance, that's solely, essentially governance, loss of determination on who we communicate with. But I did meet with, I believe it was Hannah, on February 5th.
Maybe Amber Sheik was,
Oh, Amber sounds right. Yep.
no worries. Yeah, Amber Sheik is our board chair. So you met with her on February 5th and raised the concerns about this. Okay. Thank
Yes,
you.
I had mentioned that we were behind, that there were the delays that I just previously mentioned. But I did say at that point that at that point we had just had a fresh communication with LASA with respect to needing to course correct. So that is what I communicated, that our goal was to be able to course correct. It wasn't impossible at that point. We
Okay.
were still pushing to be able
Thank
to hit that 331. And then on February 6th, I met with the CEO and communicated the same situation, same process, the scope, the timing. I did have concerns about items being delayed, but that we were hoping to be able to course correct. On February 10th, received another extension request on past due items to extend them further. So on that was a Friday. On that Monday, I took a look at what was past due, and I informed them that this was the last extension that I was comfortable in providing on past due items without looping in others, others being the CEO again, and then obviously governance. So on February 18th, I notified the CEO once again of further delays, and that if these delays were not resolved, I would have to communicate to governance. So then I gave from February 18th all the way to March 3rd, which is when I no longer felt comfortable that we were in a position to still commit.
Wait, could you repeat that? I just want to make sure we've got this. Somehow you cut out for a moment. So could you back up to February 18th?
Yes, on February 18th, I notified the CEO via email that that was the last of the further delays, and that I would need to communicate to governance if those past due items were not resolved essentially immediately. So from February 18th, fast forward to March 3rd, that there was not enough movement on those past due items for me to continue to feel comfortable. I felt like I exhausted my ability to work solely within management, and I needed to alert governance of the delays, which is when I sent the letter of the potential for LASA to not meet its regulatory deadline.
Okay. Yeah, that's a letter that we received on the commission dated March 3rd. That was from your offices that said that there's issues, difficulties you encountered performing the audit, and that audit items are not submitted on a timely basis, in accordance with the agreed upon audit plan, and that these open items have not been resolved as of March 3rd. Okay.
That's correct.
All right. So that's March 3rd. How are we doing now? It's March 18th.
Yes, so so that March 3rd date, the reason just to kind of give a little bit more coloring in the audit process, because I know I audit every day and not everyone in this room does. So as part of the audit process, I would say it's about a four-pronged or four-stage approach with respect to preparation of our audit work papers. That's stage one. After preparation, so that's really the staff on the engagement, working through items provided by LASA, looking at details support, and they're preparing our audit work papers. There tends to be a lot of back and forth with our clients at that point, really getting items resolved, et cetera. The detail review would be stage two of the audit process. That's when, in this situation, Thomas would come in and he's the second set of eyes, looking at each work paper in detail. That generally happens about 75% of the way into preparation. We like to do it as concurrently as possible, but we don't start the detailed review process until there's a substantial amount of work to review. So if we have a lot of past due items or a lot of open items, that detailed review process does get pushed back. It cannot be done solely concurrently. We do need a little bit of we need work to be able to review that. Once that detailed review process is complete, that's when it comes to me for the principal review. I do my sign-on review over the financial statements, over high-risk work papers, et cetera. And then subsequent to that, we have our quality control review process. That is a required process as part of our firm. That's where we pull in someone unrelated to the audit that has not been involved with the audit to date to be a second set of eyes looking at the financial statements and again, any risky areas. So that quality control review process, we are required to communicate to our clients. That can take up to 2 weeks, especially during high volume times. And that is solely for to ensure quality, that we're not Western the quality control process. It is a pool of individuals that review. So that March 15th date is really key to be able to hit a March 31st deadline. Not that it takes the full 2 weeks, but that is, the conservative communication that we do provide to clients, that we need time to be able to do our quality control review process. It's not a rubber stamp process. So to answer your question, I just wanted to color it so I could explain where we were.
Yeah, I
Right.
appreciate that. There's four
Yep.
stages. It's good to know and good to
Yep.
understand that, and that's methodical. And this is all, by the way, these are the stages that you do. On our side, there's also some standards and governance requirements on our side, in terms of how we have to approve this and review this, and also give time to our group and our group of commissioners to consider this important document and give our feedback and ask questions for people, to people like you or for management. Today we're meeting. It's the 18th. We haven't been provided those documents to review. And I'm going to just want to put a flag in that. I want to talk a little bit about best practices for that, and what are the kind of industry expectations and kind of governance, best practices for governance on our side, because just because you finish your work doesn't mean that we don't get to ask questions and take a look at what you do, and have some time to consider that, especially because our commissioners are all unpaid, and we're giving our time, and we should be able to have some time to consider this most important of documents that is a statement of our financial situation. So sorry to move off, throw you off again, but thank you for outlining those four stages: the prep, the detailed review, the principal review, the quality control review. It sounds like a thoughtful and well-established process. But yeah, so how are we doing?
Yeah, so we at the time that I sent the letter, we were still in the preparation stage. So we were
That's stage one.
very
That's stage
far-
one. Yeah, stage
Yes,
one.
we were
Okay.
still in stage one. And our audit plan had us in at a minimum stage 3 at that process, at that timing. So in March, we were in agreement that we would have to be in review, meaning at least my review, to be able to hit that, getting it into second review in early March to have no issues with March 31st. Happy to say that at this point, though, March 18th, we also have gone through a detailed review of at least our audit work papers. And at this point, so we would be I would say 75% of the way through stage 2. At this point, our team is working on clearing detailed review comments, working through the comments from our detailed reviewer, and working on preparation of the financial statements for, again, detailed review. So we're in stage 2 on our audit work papers, which is the bulk of our work, and moving into stage 1 on the financial statements. So next up would be my review. Once those comments are cleared, my review of the work papers, Thomas's review of the financial statements, and then my review of the financial statements to then get it into our second review, quality control review process subsequent to that.
Okay, so it sounds like it's not really realistic to hit a deadline of March 31st with our filing of this.
So I would say on March 3rd is when I felt like it became unrealistic given the well, let me rephrase. On March 3rd is when I felt like the lack of change, lack of movement in the process is when it became, if we continue having that lack of change or expedition in closing down open items, that it was unlikely. March 15th is the date at which we are no longer within that 2-week window. It doesn't mean it's impossible. I have alerted our quality control review team that this is an engagement that is behind and that we are doing our best. We're putting as many people as we can on it to get the audit expedited. Obviously, without cutting corners, we do have to follow auditing standards to be able to issue a sufficient audit. But I would say it's not out of the realm, but it is possible that it will not meet the March 31st deadline because we are outside of that 2-week window.
Right.
With that being said, it's been a few years of this sort of delay with LASA. It's not the first time I've sent this letter to governance. In the past few years, we have been able to expedite, get you all issued by March 31st, I think, on the date. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I will say that we do everything that we can. with obviously, I can't say what I don't know. So if there are issues that arise during my review or quality control review, there's always that possibility, which is why we give ourselves at least 2 weeks to get through QC review, just in case there are any hidden items that may come up in the review process.
Yeah, understood. I don't think any of us want you to cut corners. We want to do a thorough and careful job. I just want to note that between October 2025, when we had our audit committee meeting, when things seemed to be going fine, until I received the letter on March 3rd, I didn't know that there were any issues or slowdowns with this process. So even though you had meetings with the commission chair, with the CEO, and there were warning flags, at least from my role as the chair of the audit committee, and in our charter, we're supposed to be in charge of oversight of the single audit process. The first notification I got that there were any trouble was at March 3rd, which you're effectively telling me is the part where we you didn't think that we probably were going to be able to get it in on time for the 31st filing. So just want to note that. And also want to say too that even if we do the hurry up offense, it's important that that our review process, and I talk about our commission's review process, reflects governance standards for organization for managing the kind of significant public funding that we manage. Oversight of the annual audit is one of the central responsibilities of this audit committee. And that responsibility can only be fulfilled if we have a chance and adequate time to review the draft audited financial statements, and have a chance to discuss those with our auditor and with our team before we're asked to approve them. I think that most common practice across public and nonprofit sectors kind of recommend that these materials should be provided to directors or commissioners sufficiently in advance of these meetings to allow for careful review. So complex materials such as a single audit should be circulated at least a week in advance, ideally earlier, so that the commissioners can review these statements, understand the findings, and prepare questions for management and for the independent auditors, for you. Reviewing an audit for the first time during a meeting where a vote is requested does not provide us with meaningful opportunity to exercise our oversight responsibilities. And given the scale of LAHSA's operations, the importance of the single audit in demonstrating compliance with federal funding requirements, I think it's very important, and particularly important at this moment, that this audit committee, but also our commission, have the opportunity to review these materials in advance and engage in substantive discussion with both management and the auditors about them. So given that we're on 75% through stage 2 of the process right now on March 18th, I don't see how this is going to happen in a way that makes sense. And I'm very disappointed, but I understand and I appreciate your report on this to our group. So I'd like to open it up to questions from my fellow commissioners, Commissioner Saunders, if you have them for about this process, or if any other feedback that you or things you'd like to say, Justin, as part of this process.
No, I don't have any questions.
All right, Justin, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
No, I just think I think as I mentioned at the beginning of the audit or the beginning of this conversation, I think two-way communication is really key, especially with governance. So, I think in this situation, it would be a really good idea, at least during the audit process in the future, for me to be invited to frequently communicate with the Audit and Finance Committee on the status of the audit, since it doesn't sound like clear communication is making its way to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, to the extent that I'm a member of the audit committee or this next cycle, I will certainly be asking for that. Just want to ask you who your counterpart is, which department is your counterpart in terms of getting the information you need at LAHSA? So who is it that you're interacting with? Is it there?
Primarily, I would say the finance department is primarily the audit liaison. We obviously, as part of the single audit, we work with various departments, but the finance department is the primary liaison.
Gotcha. So it's it's under the finance function, right? It's not.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. If there's nothing else, we can move on. I really certainly just want to say thank you very much for this presentation, Justin. Really appreciate it. I appreciate you also navigating this process with integrity and care. Thank you. Any public comment or do we have?
No, Commissioner.
No, Commissioner. Okay. Thank you very much. I think we can move on. Appreciate it. And yep, thank you for tuning in from Charm City.
Thank you.
All right. Let's move on to item number 3. And with Aram's going to make the presentation. Thank you very much, Aram, for being here today. This is an update on current and prior audits.
Can everyone hear me?
Testing. Testing.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Commissioners, LASA staff, and member of public. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an update on internal audit activities. I will briefly cover the status of current audit engagements, provide an update on items discussed in the prior meeting, and outline the next steps in executing the approved internal audit plan. For item number 3, update on current and prior audits. Internal audit has completed the first draft of COC audit report. The report is currently undergoing internal review. Once that review is finalized, the draft will be shared with the process owner for management review, and we will schedule an exit conference to discuss the results of any recommended actions before the report is finalized.
Just want to say on that, thank you very much. This is an audit that was started in 2024, and
That's
we are
great.
almost done. So COC audit for underspend, thank you, and look forward to the next meeting where you'll present the findings probably.
Yes, thank you. So for signatory authority review, it's currently in the fieldwork phase. Internal audit is reviewing documentation and evaluating compliance with the organization's delegated authority requirements regarding the remaining engagements, including the included in the approved internal audit plan. Internal audit plans to begin initiating those audits next week. This will include sending an intent to audit notification and requesting the initial documentation required to begin those engagements.
Right. And this is for the signature authority audit, which is right. That's the one we're talking, right?
No. So for signatory authority review, we're already in the fieldwork phase.
Sorry. Yep. Sorry. I was
That's
just,
okay.
yep. So, okay. COC audit, signature authority review, and then you're talking about the provider invoice and payments.
Yes,
Okay,
that's right.
thank
Those are approved in our internal audit plan.
Right.
So the COC audit was one from the prior year audit, and then signatory authority was at the request of this audit committee, and then we have 6 planned audits in our approved internal audit plan.
Got you. And we're starting 2 of those.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. And that, yeah, excellent.
Okay, so thank you. And then for our item 4.
Hang on. Let's just see. Do you have any questions
Okay.
about item 3? Okay. All right. Thank you, Aram.
Sure.
So item 4, yeah, update on action items from prior. Oh, sorry. Update on action items from prior meeting. Do you want to go through? There was Commissioner Stringer had a question, right, about the audit plan, and we provided that to
Yes, we
him.
provided that to him
Right.
already.
And then there was an action item related to receiving emails from the public at that point, or receiving messages from the public,
Yes.
who may have suggestions for things we might want to audit. Yep.
Yes, so we're actually planning to create an email internally at LASA, so that's going to be published for public to interact with us with that email. It's going to be with the domain internal audit.
It's going to be with the domain internal audit. Okay. people can send me messages if they want in the meantime, and I'm pretty easy to find. And another issue that we had, item that we had, an action item, was the RFP for a consultant. And could you talk about that a little bit?
Yes.
I
So
think you've changed your mind a little bit about that for now, right?
yes, that's right. So at the prior meeting, the committee discussed the potential engagement of an internal audit consultant to support the function. Internal audit revisited the department's current needs and workload and conducted a reassessment of the scope of upcoming audit work. Based on that evaluation, we determined that engaging a consultant is not necessarily necessary at this time. Internal audit will continue executing the approved audit plan using existing resources while continuing to monitor workload and capacity as the plan progresses.
Okay, I just want to say thank you, Aaron, for the hard work that you and Arjuna, your teammate, have been working on. You guys have made tremendous progress in a very short time, and I just want to commend you on your leadership for this effort with actually fewer resources than previously, but actually better productivity. It's awesome. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And the last is a budget reset also that's happening right now, correct? With a mid-year budget is being reestablished, I believe. Yeah, I think
That's right.
so. Yeah, we're going to have some more clarity on that as that's established also. So we'll know how much budget our group has for the remainder of the year relatively soon.
Yes.
All right. Any questions on item 4?
Was the request for us to get the IAP training, is that a part of?
This is a good point. It's something that fell off our list, and it's something that I know that, no, but you're right. You're right. You did caught it. You did catch it, but we wanted to do, no, it's something that we wanted to do initially. And I have to say that it's my fault for not continuing to bring that up. But we did want to have training available. And I think that we can, now that we have the budget update for the mid-year, we can take a look at this, but I think we should follow up with it because I thought that it would be helpful to have training available, not just the loss of foots the bill for the training of our team internally, our staff, but also gives the commissioners, if they choose to participate or have those access to that, I think it would be a good practice. Yeah.
I think that was
Yeah.
what I was thinking.
That's right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's somehow that Commissioner Saunders, that fell off my plate, and it's mea culpa. So but I agree. I think it's a good thing. It's something that will help us all sharpen our ability to do a good job with this. So all right, let's make sure we follow up on that next time, and then.
Absolutely.
And which leads us into item number 5, which is review of action items. So one will be to follow up on that training. The other is this public email, and probably an update of the budget for the next meeting, just to make sure that we understand what our remaining budget is, and if there's any kind of changes to the structure of that are recommended. All right, that's item 5 wrap. Item number 6. Any public participation or comments?
No, we have no public comment.
No public comment. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate your time. Thank you and congratulations on this new audio setup. A couple of hiccups, but actually it feels sturdier and better. Yeah. And these cameras, I don't know what that is. We're like at a rock concert or something there. I'm just waiting for the fog machine to roll in. So, all right. Thank you all. Appreciate you all being here.